You are listening to Peak One Sports.
Welcome to the Bungalow Hockey Show. Take 2. Yes, your boy here started without audio once again. We're off to a good start on this first ever episode of the Bungalow Hockey Show.
What I think is hilarious is you the reason that you found out you were recording without audio is because you were talking about yesterday recording without audio.
I will reiterate again from this week's Bungalow Sports Show. We're taking applications for producers because apparently, like, if the computer's not right in front of my face, which I like put it over here so it's like not in the way, everything looks better. I just got to see this little line going so I see our voices. Welcome to the Bungalow Hockey Show, though. This is the first episode. We just talked for about 5 minutes about why we're doing it. I don't like to rehash. We're not going to do it all again. All I have to say is I love hockey. Daniel loves hockey. There's plenty of sports out there. Since hockey's back, it's what's on my mind most. I don't want to fill the Bungalow Sports Show with hockey talk. So we're just going to separate them. And Bungalow Sports Show will be for all the other sports. The Fight Show will be for MMA and the UFC. And this is going to be all hockey all the time. Daniel's our hockey expert.
And I made the team.
You did.
I'm on the team,
You made the team. You first ballot, dude. You weren't even on the bubble.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, you were like the kid. You were like the kid at tryouts where it's just like after the first drill, like all the coaches are just like, what's that kid's name?
Like 44. We like him. Yeah,
what's that kid's name? Yeah. So yeah, thank you.
That'd honestly be the first time ever that's happened to me. So,
I know,
so
right?
great.
Yeah, I was like, when I played baseball, like I was like I made all-stars a lot when I was a kid, but I was like, I squeaked right in, right at the end. You know what I mean? Because like it's just, that's why we like to talk about sports, because we're not that good at them.
Yeah, it's normally when you're not that good at sports, you talk about them, and then people think like, oh wow, this guy knows a lot. It's like, yeah, I know a lot. I just can't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I spend a lot of my time examining and analyzing, not doing. But yeah, we're gonna come to you every week on Tuesday. The Bungalow Sports Show is now moved to Sunday nights live at 5 p.m. After the games are over, the football games are over, at the start of Sunday Night Football. And we'll get, that show's not really going to change. Just we're just moving it to live on Sunday night. So
Joey can't be mad that I'm on the show.
Yeah, he can't get mad that you're an official co-host now, because this isn't his show.
Yeah,
this is your show. You know what I mean?
This is my show.
Yeah. Well, I mean, co-host means we're co-hosting.
I was like, it's my show.
You're not a sidekick. And if Joey keeps it up, I might downgrade him to sidekick.
Hey, there
all right?
you go.
No, I'm just kidding. I won't do that. Even though he didn't show up for the first live show.
It could be your Ed McMahon.
You know what? We did our first Bungalow Sports Show live last night, right? And Joey couldn't make it, so I had Chris. Chris, and then my other hetero life mate Tim come in here. And I'm going back, and I didn't watch the episode. I rarely watch these things other than editing them or whatever.
You were there, so I mean.
Exactly, and it's like cringy, you know what I mean? It's like when you film yourself. It's like Kano, our goaltender in the Dirt League, she wears a GoPro, and like a lot of people have footage, and you're like, oh, this is going to be cool. Going to get to see ourselves playing, and then you watch it, and you're like... You know what I mean? It feels so much cooler when you're out there doing it, and then when you watch it back, you're just like, oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what I look like.
Yeah, right. Like when I made that little the little clip for the Bronze Tigers when I was there on our bye night and I was filming, like I sped everything up by 2. And it was funny because I was showing it to Paris and she was like, "You sped this up, huh?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "It still looks slow." And I was like, "Just shut up." That's why you don't come to the games.
I made on that game. I made a spinorama deke that probably went about the same speed as smell.
Yeah, the wafting
was so bad.
Yeah. No, but hey, I got it on video though.
While I was out there though, I felt like I was doing a good job.
No, that's what I'm saying. Whatever, man. That's why like people always ask me like, "Oh, does your wife go to the games?" And I'm like, I would not force. No. I would not like torture her with that. Like back when we were playing in Ripon, when it was like 2 exits away. You know, if it was an early game or whatever and she wanted to come, yeah, I'm not going to stop her from coming.
Right.
But, like, I think the last, like, game she went to was when the Shucks won the championship.
Oh, nice.
You know what I mean? So it's like, and, hey, that was a high moment.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We're good. But anyways, we're going to talk a little bit less about our hockey and talk about real big boy hockey on this show. But this show
is more exciting.
It is. This show, as all other shows on this network, are brought to you by Betalytics. Go to Betalytics.com. Promo code PEAK1. Get 25% off your profile and all the info you need to bet on hockey. They do puck. They do ball. Like, they do hard ball, bouncy ball, oblong ball. All the ball and all the stuff with a net or an end zone, all that stuff. They don't do my beloved fights because it's just too goddamn unpredictable. But for all your major sports and major sports betting, you just go there. It's just an endless amount of information, too much almost sometimes. Like, I'm a guy who, like, obviously I like to bet with my gut. It doesn't bode well for me, right? I lost all my money on Saturday on the fights, but then I said it was a good thing because then I wasn't able to lose it on football the next day.
Oh, there you go.
You know what I mean? So it's like silver linings. But, you know, maybe I wouldn't lose it on football if I use Betalytics more. So you be smarter than me. Go to Betalytics and use promo code PEAK1. Get 25% off. We're also brought to you by League Swipe. They're back. They're back in the bungalow. They're back on Peak One Sports. They were here before the fantasy football leagues kicked off this year, and now they're back for fantasy basketball, fantasy hockey. Everything is going, and some of these leagues are real complicated. Like the guys that they got complicated rules, complicated payouts. They have like weekly payouts for like different types of like statistical competitions between teams during the week and all kinds of weird stuff. And if you got fantasy football, emotions run high sometimes for some of these guys, and just fantasy sports in general. So if you're a commissioner and you're having a hard time keeping these attitudes in check, if you're just feeling real bad, you keep sending out the 10th email of, hey, pay me, go to League Swipe and see if they can help you out. They help you organize everything in a nice little spreadsheets. They'll send out your emails begging for money. And you can blame it on League Swipe. You don't have to take all the credit for stealing everybody's money. We're also brought to you by ourselves and the Peak One Sports merch store, bonfire.com/store/Peak One Sports. If you're watching this right now, go there and pick up the Bungalow Hockey Show shirt because that'll be in there.
We got a hockey show shirt?
Oh, there's gonna be a hockey show shirt.
I can't wait.
Yeah, if you're watching this now, whether it's Tuesday or after, it'll be in there right next to the Bungalow Sports Show and the Bungalow Fight Show and all the other Bungalow stuff. Bonfire.com/store/Peak One Sports. We're brought to you by 3P1C, Epic Hockey. Daniel is, if you didn't know, I think we only mentioned it the first time you were ever on one of my shows, is the proprietor of a hockey equipment company. Why don't you do the ad?
Epic Hockey is my brand. We aim to be different than every other hockey brand out there by offering amazing quality gear, sticks, gloves, custom apparel, base layer stuff, every single thing that a hockey player could need, and we offer it at a price that you can actually can afford. We just as an example, I guess our sticks, we would put them up against anybody else's top end sticks. They're fantastic hockey equipment, and most people would sell them for right around $390, right around there, like almost $400, and we sell ours for $189.
Right.
And
as a man who's gone through a lot of hockey sticks in my time, it's hard spending over $300 on a hockey stick sometimes, but then it's hard. You can't ever go back. I also started in I'll just buy the cheapest shit, when I started playing hockey. Why spend that much money? But then once you get a good stick, you can't go back.
But then also too, if you're thinking like, oh well, I only have like $200 to spend on a stick.
Right.
If you're gonna go drop that $200 on a stick, it's typically not going to be a stick that you're going to be able to play with.
Right.
It's going to be one where it's kind of like,
it either is a stick that's not going to last long, not going to feel right, or you're going to have to get like a really old model stock, something off Hockey Monkey that's 5 years old that's been sitting in a warehouse.
Or it feels like an actual tree trunk trying to swing
just
that
dead.
thing around. Yeah.
And that's the thing. If you've shot enough hockey pucks, and there is a difference too. I've noticed between, obviously, because now that we play ice hockey, the puck is so much heavier than a roller hockey puck. Good God, does it make a huge difference?
It really does.
Like playing with a stick that I would just go out there and play roller hockey with randomly versus playing on ice, it's a huge difference. So go check out epichockey.com and see what they got for you. You guys got a new stick coming out.
Sure do. It's good
signature. And yeah, support Daniel because he's the co-host now.
Yeah.
All right, Daniel, you just fresh off of plane from Hawaii. How was that?
Sure am.
Lucky butt.
Hawaii was great. It wasn't actually as hot as you would think it would be. Even it's October and whatnot, but it was pretty good. We're doing some finalization for a wedding and whatnot, so
nice.
Finally getting married for being in a relationship with this woman for 13 years, and we've got 3 kids. It's kind of like, I think it's fucking about time.
Yeah,
right?
it is what it is. I starting to look at like weddings and that kind of stuff. Like I look at college, where it's like, if you really want to do it, then of course, go do it. But if it's not necessarily on your priority list and you're in a committed relationship, it's not like you needed that piece of paper for the last 13 years to make you stay together.
We have like a lot of people think like, or say that like the thing that you do when you get married is like, oh, we can have our own our same bank account, we can have this, like everything's joint, so it's like you get the tax breaks and all that, it's like it's financially good to be married and whatnot. It's just like we just haven't cared enough.
So of course, like, well, and that's the thing is like Paris and I talk about it all the time. Is like we got married really young. We got married when we were 21 years old, right? That's a whole different story of why people thought we shouldn't have done that. But obviously we made the right choice because we're 16 years in and,
exactly.
We're still going fine.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's the thing too. Like Daniel, not married, but it's like we both got with our life partners very young. You know what I mean? And
about 22, 23.
That's what I'm saying. It's like if you got a head on your shoulders and you kind of. It doesn't matter. Some people need to wait till they're 30, 40 years old because they're dunces and they make bad choices. But I made enough bad choices before the age of 22 that I kind of got them out of my system. You know what I mean? So you guys were there.
We were there.
You were there on business.
Yeah, pretty much doing some finalization and whatnot. I have to taste the cakes and stuff. And by the way, carrot cake with chantilly cream. If you get a chance, oh my God,
that's a cake you don't hear a lot about, dude.
No, it's good, man.
Like carrot cake is so underrated. Even just like the classic carrot cake with like the cream cheese frosting. Yeah. Always been a fan.
Yeah, it
doesn't get its due. And, Daniel's a fan of. He was talking about doing a draft of non-sports related items, and I let him know that is right up my alley. So there may be some of those on this show.
That'd be fun.
And we may have to do a cake draft.
Oh, a cake draft?
Cake draft.
Oh,
dude.
I'm into a cake draft.
Cake draft, and a pie draft because some people like to conflate the two. Two totally different things.
No,
all right?
Absolutely. But I mean, if we were to do a desserts draft. Where does cake land and where does pie land?
Pie above cake for me.
Are you sure?
I mean, I guess it depends on the pie.
I think it depends on the cake, right? I mean, but what's your favorite pie?
My favorite. Oh goddamn! Now we're getting in the
right.
weeds here. We're getting in the weeds here. You. Okay,
save it for
next week. Maybe we're doing a dessert draft. I don't know.
Maybe we should actually.
You said you watched Magic Mike on the plane. What's that all about?
Oh my God. Bro, okay, so we're on the way back from Hawaii last night. It's already we're jam packed into the freaking plane because it's like there's 400 people in a 300 seat plane because that's just how they do. It's not a comfortable situation, and of course it's like we're only going for the weekend, so we're just like we can get the cheap tickets.
Right.
It's like we don't care and. I mean, we didn't go with kids this time, so it was just me and her, and we're we're sitting the way the plane's situated is there's 2 seats. There's 4 seats in the middle, and there's 2 seats on the other side. So we're in the 2 seats over here, and there was this lady in front of us that, like, you could tell when she got on the plane, she had a pretty rough day.
There's always those flights where you're just like, oh, she's ready to go home.
She was definitely ready to not be where she was at that moment.
Sometimes that's half the plane on like a Las Vegas flight.
Yeah, and I mean,
leaving Las Vegas.
And I mean, you know, and I'd prepared well, and the wife, she was tired, so she's like, you know, I'm just gonna sit on your shoulder, I'm gonna sleep, you know. And I'm just like, yeah, it's not a big deal. I got my phone out, you know. I was like, I got podcasts going on, I got, you know, like I got YouTube videos I've saved, and you know, like game theories because I'm a nerd, you know, like that kind of thing. Just whatever. And you know, every now and again I'd look up and just kind of like, you know, survey my surroundings, because I do that, I guess. And it's very easy to see, you've been on a plane, everybody's been on a plane, it's very easy to see the person in front of you screen because it's to the back of the headrest, right? Every now and again I'd look up and it's just like this dude getting down with this girl, and it's like the water's coming in, and they're just like, and then both of them are shirtless for some reason, and it's just like, and you're looking at it, you're just like, is this Magic Mike?
Watching Magic Mike on a plane.
And I'm looking around and I'm like,
hey, she needed some cheering up,
I'm just
dude.
looking
all
around,
right?
I'm like, is anybody else seeing this? And she's just sitting there, and she's just like, oh, she's just in it. And I'm like, I don't know if she is at all like concerned about what people around her, and it's just like, but I'm watching and I'm like, I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah, well, you know,
I am uncomfortable.
She's leaving this vacation. She just needed a dream of a better day. So she had to turn on Magic Mike. And
and one thing I didn't text you afterward was because I text you after I got off the plane, because of course I had service, and what I didn't put back down in the notes in the text was after Magic Mike, she watched The Notebook.
Two opposite ends of the spectrum of movies.
I was like, I don't know what happened to her on this vacation.
We got a long flight from Hawaii, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on, I'm going to rub one out, and then I'm going to cry one out.
It honestly seemed like that might have been the case.
Full spectrum of emotions there for that lady.
Like, man, that was...
Well, shout out to that lady. Let's hope she had let's hope she landed. And let's hope today, let's hope Monday's a better day for her than that was Sunday.
A vacation for her. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall on
full
that.
Full spectrum. Yeah, that's like, that's full vacation. All right, that's enough out of us. Let's get into hockey. This is the hockey show. I have a new graphic here, because last night on the live bungalow, I had the old graphic I was using for our roster breakdowns and just hockey on the sports show, and I realized it was an old graphic because sometimes I'm not that observant, and I bring these things up off the internet and then put them in my thing to make my little deal here, and I didn't realize it didn't have a Kraken logo. It just said NHL Seattle still.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right, so it must have been from like 3 years ago.
I think I remember.
But you're not as big of an asshole. See, the first thing I did, I swiped to it, and Tim's like, "What kind of show is this?" You realize Seattle's had a team for 3 years now.
You know what? It's funny because you say that, and it's just like, man, I don't envision them being a team for over 3 years now. At this
Isn't
point.
it crazy?
That's crazy.
Time flies. So we got the new graphic. We got the logos. The puck dropped last Tuesday. I'm not a Penguins or a Blackhawks fan, but the mic'd up first puck drop of the ref and Sid the Kid coming in and Connor Bedard coming into center, and the ref's just like, "Sid, welcome back for another season. Connor, welcome to the show. This is gonna be great." Wow! He drops
that was awesome.
It almost brought a tear to my eye, dude.
It was way better than last year's opening night when they gave the puck to was it Wes McCauley, I think, and he's just like, you know, everybody watching on, you know, everybody here in Tampa, everybody watching on TV, what's better than this? It's just like, man,
it was so awkward.
The puck,
yeah,
dude.
No, this one was good. This was a legit, and I mean, it was situation obviously because you had Sid, who's like the perennial guy, and then you had Connor, who's supposed to be the new guy. Yeah. So all things worked out. But kudos to that ref. I don't even know who the ref was, but
I think the best referee mic'd up moment when they're dropping the puck. Do you remember back like probably 2-3, actually a little bit longer, maybe like 5 years ago now, when it was, I think, the World Juniors, and it was like right after Christmas, so I think it had to have been World Juniors, and the ref comes up to the circle and he's like, "All right, boys, Santa's still watching. Have a good game." I was like, that's so good.
I talk about it all the time, and obviously I love hockey. I love it as a sport, but I don't know if it's the Canadian factor of it. I don't know what it is, but obviously I'm not a super serious guy. Like, yes, there's times in life that you have to take things serious.
Of course.
And that's the only time you need to take things serious. Every other time, nothing's that important. You know what I mean? Like, a job's a job. You go, you make money, you do what you got to do, family stuff. But everything outside of that, all of our extracurriculars, this podcast, my music, our hockey league, everything. Let's have some fun with it.
It is what it is.
That's why I like Mike McDaniel, the coach of the Dolphins, because he doesn't take things so seriously. When the reporters try to ask him super serious football guy questions, he just totally flips it back on him and makes some kind of a dry humor joke.
Bring that up later, like when reporters ask questions. Bring that up later, because I saw an interview after, I think, the second Leafs game that I want to talk about, because that's crazy.
Okay. But that's what in the hockey, and I love that hockey's getting a lot of mic'd up this season, it seems like, because we've already got a lot of gems, because the rise of social media has helped with that, because they want the clips and the TikToks and stuff like that.
Finally, Gary Bettman's leaning into it.
Yeah, exactly. And there's already this season. Every season's great when you're a hockey fan, but some teams have been shot out of a cannon. Some are stumbling out the gate. But there's some players out there that are just on one. Your boy Trevor Zegras had a good mic'd up with the, "What do you get, Mags? I hit you. I weigh 135 pounds." He's like, and then you just hear the guy on the side, "Really?" He's like, 175. Like, it's just little crap like that just cracks me up. You got Mike Giordano, RKO out of nowhere, jumping on the pile, fucking first game. Like, it's just, hockey's back, everybody.
Hockey's back, man. It's been a long off season.
And speaking of those Leafs you just brought up, Auston Matthews, speaking of shot out of a cannon.
Holy crap, man.
2 hat tricks in 2 games.
Yeah.
I mean,
Dude, 6 goals in 2 games.
And I'll reiterate what Chris did last night when I brought this up. He was born in California, maybe raised in Arizona. Born in California. He's got that little Mexican mustache. He's part Mexican. All right, we claim him. 2 hatties, 2 games, dude. Like, it just sucks because it's Toronto and you just feel the choke coming months and months ahead of time. You know what I mean?
As Toronto being my second favorite team, I truly hope that they overcome this year.
No, in years where I have nothing to root for in my own team success wise, the Torontos, the Buffalo, the teams that just are always cursed. Like, obviously I got a soft spot for them, and it's just with the Connor McDavid gets most of the talk as far as like being the best player in the NHL.
Yeah.
This freaking guy right here is so good.
He's very good.
Like, I don't know if anybody's had a better shot in the history of the NHL. Like, there's been some good ones, but it just, when you watch him shoot the puck, it's just like, it's another level.
Exactly. I think with Connor, he gets the moniker is like best player in the game.
Right.
Rightfully so. He makes everybody else around him good. He can pass the puck with like nobody else. He can beat everybody to a puck because he's faster than the lightning itself.
Right.
But I think Matthews might shoot the puck way better than he does.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just like watching it. Like, hockey's one of those things where, like, we got this guy on our team, Wayne, and I've played with him for a long time through roller and now and anything. And, he's a big, chubby dude, but when you watch him, he's one of those guys where, like, if you just isolated his shot, you didn't get the end part where it goes a foot wide. But when you just watch his shot, you're just like, dude, like, that is a beautiful thing.
And then you disregard all the things that he did in order to get open to make the shot.
Or,
you know?
yeah,
It's like-
whatever. Who cares about the rest of it? But I always tell them, I'm like, if you just have somebody just film that part of it, so people think like, oh man, that guy could
Yeah,
win
it's like,
pro.
oh, he's good. Why is he playing dirt league?
Yeah. But yeah, Austin Matthews, dude, just 2 games in, incredible stuff. Well, since we're on the Leafs, why don't you say what you wanted to say about?
Yeah, man. So after I think it was a second Leafs game and the second Austin Matthews hat trick in as many games, which is just insane. By the way, the only people to do that hat trick and then another hat trick on first 2 games of the season, Ovi. And then before that, you have to go all the way back to the 1920s.
Which is crazy.
Just ridiculous. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
And so it was post-game interview, and everybody's crowded around Matthews because, of course, they are. And I think a beat reporter for the Leafs, Steve, I don't remember his last name, Steve something, and he essentially asks Matthews, so were you surprised that you got a hat trick tonight? Were you satisfied with your performance even though knowing you didn't have a great game? He's like, I don't know, Steve. I got 3 goals. Like, what are you talking about? I didn't have a good game. Like, this is what people expect of me. Like, I'm scoring goals.
We talked before about the Toronto media, being a Toronto Maple Leaf and having like the media being just as tough as like dealing with a coach or dealing with anything else. They're like, what else you got to do?
Dude, it's like, at what point did you think this game was going south for Matthews? It's just like, Matthews got his 3rd goal just now, but man, his defensive
metrics ain't
metrics,
looking good.
It's like, it's a good thing he got that 3rd goal, otherwise he'd look real bad right now. It's like, no.
Like, what are they like
talking about?
What are they saying to Giordano? It's like, great jump into that pile, Mike. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, I don't think they'd say anything to the 41-year-old who's like, it's like, come on, man.
Of all things to critique, you're going to critique the guy who just scored the 2nd hat trick.
Seriously,
in that many games.
What are you doing?
Goddamn media. We would never do that to players here on the Bungalow Hockey Show.
To be honest, we would never do that to players here on the Bungalow because we love hockey and we respect what they do. Any reporter in our area for the Ducks or Sharks probably wouldn't know what to ask. So
this is also true. All right, moving on to another guy we actually talked about not too long ago, Igor Shesterkin.
Hey,
we talked about his exploits and kind of comparing the Rangers' goaltending situation to like a Packers quarterback, or just getting going one from the next.
Can't keep getting away with this.
And old Igor, 100 wins in 159 games played.
Just insane.
Like, 7th most in the history of the NHL, or 7th fastest in the history of the NHL. I'm surprised it's 7th fastest, because when you hear that stat of 100 wins and only 159 played, you're like, how is that not number 1?
Exactly, right?
Like, that's crazy.
That is nuts.
With the amount of 82 games in a season, it's like, that's nuts.
Do you have the list of
other guys?
6th fastest or 6th faster?
I think it's another one of those. You got to go back to like non-modern hockey.
Well, I don't know, because I want to look it up now, but I'm thinking one of those names has to be either Waugh or Hasek or maybe Brodeur, but
I want to say maybe Brodeur was on, because I was looking, because in the article I was reading about it, it only mentioned the last one to do it, and I want to say it was Brodeur, but that's just like, that's insane.
Yeah,
like
that's nuts.
100 wins in an 82 games, a sport that has an 82 game season, that takes most guys 5 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's a good goaltender. You know what I mean? Like, if you're so you Rangers, let's get our shit together, because you've got arguably the best goalie in the league.
Yeah.
And let's not waste. I guess they already wasted one best goalie in the league in King Henry. They basically wasted him and not getting anything. What's the list?
No, you're right. You're
okay.
absolutely right. So 9th is Clint Benedict. Like, such an old name.
That's like like a vaudeville, like Clint Benedict scored his 100th win. Bully.
Go get them, boys. There's Andy Moog, who I think is Andy Moog and maybe one more are probably the earliest name or latest names on this list. Then you got Igor at 7. Tiny Thompson, which you gotta love. You love a good name, so there you go.
Hell yeah, dude.
In 5th, this is amazing. Chris Osgood.
Wow. Okay.
I did not see that coming.
Well, we talked about the Red Wings, and the Red Wings, they won a lot of games for a long stretch of time with him in net.
Man. So. That's insane. And then Bob Frost, Frank Bismarck, Michael LaRock, Bill Durham, and or Durnan. 139 games for Bill. That's, I mean,
well, that's the thing is, like, sometimes I feel like the NHL doesn't really separate a lot of things. I think the NFL does a good job of saying, like, modern NFL because, you know, post merger, or they say the Super Bowl era, or whatever. Like, I feel like there has to be a cutoff for hockey too.
There's the dead puck era.
That's
and whatnot,
true.
But I mean, like, in all honesty, it's like there's the 80s in the middle of, like,
maybe like
everything,
expansion era or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what we need to say. Yeah. There's like a cutoff there where it was a lot easier to score goals at a certain,
No, it's true.
There was goalies weren't wearing masks. All the pucks were on the floor.
There was a moment in time where goalies weren't allowed to drop to their knees to block a shot. It's like, I mean, you're shooting 5-hole every time, and
that's what I'm saying.
Also, the skaters didn't have their sticks curved or anything, like, so they couldn't really lift the puck. But I mean, still, it's just like
there's a differentiation on some of those names versus old Igor here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And especially in a era where the NHL every year seemingly makes the goalie pads a little bit smaller.
Yep.
They're just trying to get more goals scored, higher scoring games. It's harder to win games, harder.
Which I think the NHL's doing a pretty good job. If that's their main missive,
this is true.
They're doing a pretty
Igor
good job.
says, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna win 100 games in 159. Do the Oilers suck, Daniel? We're only 2 games in, but do the Oilers suck?
It is overreaction season, and I think everybody in Edmonton are asking themselves the same question right now.
Especially the teams they got whomped by. I mean, we say Calgary's not a bad team, but they got fucking annihilated.
They got stomped.
And then the Canucks beat them 4-1, dude. So it's like...
No, the Canucks beat them 8-1.
8-1. Oh, I got it flipped. Calgary beat them 4-1, and then the Canucks beat them 8-1.
Which, I mean, like, you know, you look at their roster, and they're just fine. You don't have to worry about this team. They're gonna be good. As of right now, oh my God, they've scored 2 goals in 2 games with 2 of arguably the best hockey players in the world.
Well, I hate to tell you, Oilers fans, but my little infographic here says no team in NHL history has won the Stanley Cup after losing the season opener by more than 4 goals.
I mean,
bam, bam, bam.
It's not super damning, but it's also like
see, Daniel has like real stats in his brain. I like those kind of stats where it's like, you're jinxed, Bob. You're jinxed, dude. No.
Honestly, that team just might be cursed to begin with anyway. But I mean, man,
8-1 to the Canucks.
8-1 to the Canucks, bro. And,
right out the gate.
And by the way, Thatcher Demko, who if you remember from the thing, I told everybody the team's built like an upside down pyramid, and he is that last block holding literally everything together. 8-1, dude. 8-1. You know, they took him out at one point because he had the flu that game. Like it was his Michael Jordan flu game.
Right.
Like he had the flu, and the only reason that they took him out of the game, do you know this? He threw up in his mask.
Gotta clean that bad boy out.
They're like, oh yeah, we should probably sit you now.
We got to install that puke catch for Thatcher, dude.
It's like 6-1, and he's telling Kachuk,
yeah, that's the time you put the backup QB in.
He's like, bro, I'm gonna throw up. Like I need to go. It's just like, you're fine. You're fine. Good. Goes out there, throws up in his mask. And he's like, oh yeah, I guess we'll change.
We'll go sanitize that real quick. Put it in the sanitizer.
Why was he even playing?
Oh, but all right, let's move back to the East Coast of Canada. Danny Alfredson, back in Ottawa, wearing a suit this time, not wearing pads.
Hey, but he is on the ice. He's skating with the team.
One of my favorite one of my favorite kind of all-time guys out there. I always like watching Danny Alfredson play.
Class act too. You gotta love a guy like that.
We always talk about the classy guys in hockey, and you can be good, and you can be a dick, and you can be good, and you can be a class act. You know, and everybody's got their own things, but I like it when teams bring back their guys. You know, whether it's Sakic, whether it's we'll talk about here in a minute, but it's like or Sharks and Danny and Mike Greer.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Marlowe's with the team too. Now,
right. You
so,
know, they just. It's nice. You know what I mean? It's nice to see that because, especially when I don't know what his official position is, but like.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
When
he's in an administrative role.
But when it's something like, you know, director of player or whatever, it's just like, okay, he's just there to tell you who's good, who's not good.
Yeah, which is Getzlaff with the Ducks right now.
Right,
like,
build a culture kind of a thing and teach the new guys how we do things in Ottawa. You know, that's fine. Bring them back.
No, that's
part
great.
of it because it's nice seeing those faces in there.
And from what I heard, the reason it's so significant from what I know, he was Alfredson had kind of a falling out with the former owner, and after his passing now, and Mike Landlower buying the team from the family, Mike Landlower reached out to him and said, you know, like, hey, we'd love to have you back. So it's kind of nice to see him back in the Senators organization. I think the fans really are happy to see that he's back. You know, I mean, like, he did so much for that team, and you know, when you have an owner that's just kind of a cock,
and also like when just when it comes to like, because a lot of I see some organizations, some fan bases are just like, well, they only hired that guy because you played for him, and it's just like, yeah, but
I was like, well, yeah,
when it comes to like things like that, when it comes to when they're just basically dealing with things on a player level and stuff like that, you can only know so much about hockey and how personalities affect a locker room and like chemistry and stuff like that if you didn't play the game or you didn't play at a high level, you didn't play for this specific team, whatever.
Yeah, it helps to have been there.
So when they bring in guys like this, like I said, the Sharks and Marlowe, Doug Murray, like they bring in Mike Ricci, they bring in like other teams bringing in guys who
Navy's still goaltending coach for the Barracuda. You gotta love that.
You just like they know things on like that chemistry level, and it's like things that like just a suit, some guy who just analyzes numbers and things like that. You'd be like, oh, yeah, this guy's good, but it's easier to kind of know the intangibles when you've been there before and kind of judge players like that. So, but Ottawa also, Daniel informed me, only dressed 11 forwards, but 17 skaters their first game.
Yeah.
Had to go down one because they ran out of cap space.
And you know what? It's just an unforced error because, you know, like because we talked about in our season preview, we were looking at their roster and we're just like, man, this guy isn't signed yet. This guy isn't signed yet. And you looked at it and it was just like, well, they're not signed because they don't have any cap space.
Don't have any cap space, yeah.
And it is like, and I was low on the Senators, like, and I think a lot of people were questioning. It's just like, Senators are supposed to be good this year. It's just like, guys, this team is a dumpster fire.
And after we did our breakdown, and you got into those particulars like that, I was actually listening to another sports show that actually gets paid to do it, and they were talking about Ottawa in a way where I was just like, do you guys not know the shit that Daniel was just talking about? And I was like, obviously they don't, so somebody should pay us. But I'm just saying, like, just because like some of the names on their roster look good and they've made some moves to where, like, yeah, in theory, some of these guys were putting them up there, and I'm just like, yeah, but there's other business things that are gonna fuck that whole thing up, and it's already begun.
Yeah, no, man. I mean, you look at it and it's just like opening night. It's opening night in the NHL.
Right.
This is kind of a big deal, right? And especially like you have a new owner. You have a new owner in Michael Landlower, and you have Pierre Dorian, who's been there for a little bit as the GM, and Pierre Dorian, historically has not been allowed to spend to the cap. And now Michael Landlower comes in and is just like, no, I want to be competitive. Like, just throw money at the wall, get us guys.
You went over the line though.
But the thing is, he hasn't had to work against the cap, he's always been like, okay, we're not going to spend to the cap, so I don't have to worry about like
going over.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about. I just have to worry about getting to the floor, right? And that's that's another thing. It's way easier to do that, right?
Well, sure, yeah.
But when you're managing, okay, we're at the ceiling. I have to not bust through it before the first game.
It's what you call a rookie mistake, because he's a rookie of dealing with the peak of the cap rather than just getting to the minimum.
And there was basically one of their players was injured day to day, whatever. He couldn't go for game one, and instead of being able to call somebody up, go to Belleville and bring up somebody from there, they didn't have any cap space because they couldn't put him on IR. He's just a day to day guy. He's just scratched, so that cap hit still is there. So they couldn't pull anybody up to play for him. So it's just like, okay, we're gonna dress 11
opening
forwards.
Night, going down a man.
It's just like,
not a good look.
What are you doing?
Not a good look. If they were in Toronto, if they had to deal with that Toronto media.
Oh my God. I mean, and they're in Canada, so it's not like if this was San Jose or Anaheim, we'd never have heard about it.
You wouldn't even know. Yeah,
it would never would have like I would have watched the game going like,
I would have just been like,
the Ducks not dress enough. Like I think I see somebody double shifting.
Yeah.
But in Ottawa, they're just like, hey, this happened. Yeah, it kind of sucks, and it's just like, yeah, it kind of sucks.
Bizarre. Like it sucks. It's weird. It's like you got one job.
Yeah.
So yeah.
To be fair, it's a big job. I mean, like, to Pierre Dorian's credit, it's not an easy job that he has.
No,
but bro,
it is like it's a GM rookie mistake.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
That's nuts.
To have that happen, especially on opening night. But moving on to Colorado, one of the teams that defeated my lowly Sharks over the weekend.
Yeah, they're a great team though. Elmar and Korea went to that game actually.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So Cale Makar scored a goal in that game, but spent the offseason basically trying to get back to 100%, trying to feel normal again, quote unquote. I mean, he looked pretty damn good with his red ass cheeks. He's got the reddest cheeks in the league.
Him and Eichel.
Yeah,
of that red,
that rosacea.
Rosacea.
But what do you think? I mean, against this, I got one thing to look at, and that's a game against the Sharks. So it's not really like he was out there.
And I'll be honest, I saw mostly just highlights of this game because I was watching the Ducks game at the time the Ducks were playing. They lost. Surprise.
Sorry, we lost to Vegas too. It's okay.
But from what I could tell of Makar, he was skating decently well. I think it's opening week, right? So the slop factor is up high.
Unless you're Austin Matthews.
Yeah, I mean it's slop o'clock right now. But he didn't look like he was laboring at all. He looked okay. But his comments in the preseason, they get me, which we haven't talked about the Central. I was going to talk about this for the Central division team breakdowns and everything. He basically said in an interview, is just like, I spent all last season, all the off season trying to feel normal again.
And that could mean a few different things.
It could mean a few different
physically,
things.
mentally, all that stuff.
I mean, and mental health is definitely a big thing, especially in pro sports. But I mean, like, you look at it and it's just like none of that bodes well for the team when you're number one. And I mean, obviously he'd go on any team and he'd still be the number one defenseman. Like he's very important to this team. And if he ain't right, it's scary a little bit.
Exactly. And we're going to need to see him play some higher level teams to really
I think he might have masked it a little bit by playing San Jose.
Exactly.
That's true.
In other positive Colorado news, the aforementioned Joe Sakic, player turned GM, just a great deal for Devin Taves.
Dude.
And Devin Taves was all over the ice in that Sharks game on Saturday night.
Oh yeah.
Just
he is a
deal.
Fantastic defenseman. Like, I mean, you talk about Makar being right. You put him on any team, he's number one. You can put Devin Taves on any team, and he's easily number one, number two. You know, like it.
No, they've got a big defensive front too.
Oh yeah,
big guys.
They've even got Samuel Girard too. Like he's young and he's gonna get way better. I mean, like
Colorado. There's a reason that they're
top four.
There's a reason they're odds-on favorites. You know what I mean? Again, yeah, just with the mistakes in Ottawa in the GM office. Man. You've got a player turned GM in Joe Sakic who is making great decisions.
Man, you look
great
at
moves.
just look at the deal, and it's just like, God, 7.25 AAV. It's just like, God, go. Somebody needs to arrest Joe Sakic for robbery. Like this guy is a ridiculous GM. It's just like when Joe Sakic calls, if you're a GM in the NHL, if Joe Sakic calls, hang up.
He's gonna finesse your ass, dude. He's gonna get you. All right, more stars, star-studded. Connor Bedard. We talked about that opening draw with Sid the Kid.
Sid wanted to win that draw so bad that went straight back.
Yeah, dude. It was funny. There's another funny mic'd up with Bedard going in like it was like third period, and he's just like, "Man, I haven't won a draw." And then the ref's just like, "Yeah, that guy's good. You're going up against."
Like, you went up against Crosby.
But it was funny because the refs are so old and he's so young. He's just like, "Yeah, man, he's sick," and the ref's just like, "Yeah, he's good."
Yeah, he's pretty good.
But he's off statistically. Bedard's off to a good start. He got an assist in his first game, goal in his second game.
Yeah.
But as Daniel texted me, and as you could see if you watch any of the games, little guy getting tossed around a bit.
A little bit, yeah.
And also wondering why some penalties aren't getting called. But
to be completely fair, he's got a lot of point. Like if he was playing in juniors or whatever, and people were doing that to him, oh yeah, all day, every day, hand goes up, that's a penalty. I mean, in the NHL, it just doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen because there's obviously the size differential. When you're a referee, especially in the NHL, in the big show, like coming from a team who like the best player was a big giant guy in Joe Thornton for a lot of times, right? There was a lot of times where guys were just so much smaller than him that he'd get a penalty called just because it looked like he was going for their head, and it's just like, no, they were just in his armpit.
But I mean, they don't call him Jumbo Joe for nothing,
right? But so in a world where you're Connor Bedard and you're going to be a smaller guy, you're going to have a lot of those situations where it's literally ref to ref, whether they're taking into consideration of like, well, that wasn't a dirty hit. You're just so much smaller. It looked like they were crushing you.
And
like,
but to be fair, some things,
sure.
100%.
There, especially with his star power, guys are going to be going after him. You know what I mean?
He's got a target, that's for sure.
But in the NHL, it's gonna with him and getting penalty calls, it's almost always going to be a judgment call, ref to ref, game to game, and who's watching the play happen.
Here's one thing. You ever watch closely Brad Marchand?
Oh yeah.
So little rat, Brad Marchand, we love the guy.
The little rat.
He's a little rat, man, and he hardly ever gets penalties, and he typically gets the benefit of the doubt. And if people
because he's a little rat, dude.
And if people are checking him and making life difficult for him, typically more times than not they go to the box, and you look at it and you go like, why does Brad Marchand get so much love from the referees?
Yeah.
Have you ever watched him in between whistles? He's talking to the refs.
Oh yeah.
The dude is going to the refs, going like, "Hey, Stripes, where are we going to dinner after this? I'll buy the first round." You know what I mean?
It's just relationships,
like
man.
bro, like Bedard, you got to understand this, and like you're a young kid. You're gonna be a freaking absolute bang on #1 Hall of Famer. You keep playing the way that you're playing, but Connor, like, you gotta start signing some sticks, man.
Oh yeah. Well, now that like, see, even in the dirt league, dude, we got our one ref guy that shows up for us every Wednesday. And one week he told me he had a knee injury, so it's like, hey man, the more you guys help me get that puck back to the circle, we're gonna have more ice time. You know what I mean? So like now every week he shows up. How's the knee, buddy? How's it going? It's like, not that like there's tons of penalties called, but it's like it's behoove you to not be a complete asshole or silent when it comes to the refs.
But and for Tigers too on Wednesday nights, I talk to that ref every week. He's a great guy, and we're buddy at this point. I love the dude. There's another ref that refs our games, and he hates me.
The big tall guy.
Yeah,
Everson. Everson. Yeah,
Everson
he plays on
on
Friday nights. Yeah, he hates everybody, dude.
He does hate.
I've made my attempt to be my jovial self with him, and
I've tried to joke around.
He doesn't. He's got nothing for you.
There's no love here.
But yeah, Connor off to a good start, but get used to. Speaking of Connor and Marchand, after they because the Bruins beat the Hawks, Hawks in the locker room after that, the reporters were asking Marchand about Connor Bedard. being an undersized player yourself, Brad, what do you got to say about Connor Bedard and his game out there? And all he said was, I'm bigger than him.
Look at Marshawn, man. Marshawn, baby. One thing I'll say about Bedard real quick is really funny. On the TNT broadcast, when he got his first goal in Boston, they flashed a graphic on the screen. They had to have been waiting for this. The second that he got his first goal and everybody was celebrating, the graphic came up and it was chasing history. Gretzky, 893 goals. Bedard won.
Yeah.
It's like such a troll.
Or the other one where it's like,
move.
Reason number 1, Connor Bedard won't win a Stanley Cup, and it's Corey Perry.
I mean,
talk about a curse.
If he's got
he is the skating curse.
If you go by history, I mean.
All right. It's talking about Gary Bettman getting on with the times. This year, the NHL is going to try something out. They're going to try out their own little version of NFL Red Zone.
Love this idea.
Featuring John Buccigross, which I'm a big fan of Buccigross.
Yeah,
I like anybody who represents hockey on ESPN.
I'm glad they brought him back.
ESPN is going to be doing the Frozen Frenzy on October 24th because they got 10 games going that day. And
they got is it 10? I think all 32 teams.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, so that would be 16 games throughout the day. I think with the Frenzy, it's going to be like 7 hours of uninterrupted hockey. They're going to be jumping back and forth, probably power plays.
Which is so fun.
Probably, any power plays, odd man rushes, just kind of following the games. And football seems a little bit easier to do that type of thing with, because
there's more stop
red
and go.
zone. It's like once a team gets into the 20-yard line,
right? I mean, like with hockey, you can be
so
in the
fast,
offensive zone, but then also out of the
within
offensive
seconds.
zone.
So we'll see how that goes. But I'm excited because, again, like we talked about with the social media and the mic'd up stuff, Bettman seems like he's loosening up to kind of
starting to come into the 21st century, even though.
And I've always said it, like, if you just. Because obviously, to the casuals out there, fighting is the most popular thing to the casual hockey fan, right? Oh, yeah, the Uchi fight, So put it on TikTok.
Yeah.
And they are. And they got the mic'd up now.
Mm-hmm.
Hockey has some of the best personalities and some of the best chirping.
But you never get to see them because it was always so restricted.
Exactly.
And I
so
mean,
now that they're doing this, they're getting it out there. I think it's a great move, right? And this, for the casual fan, is going to be great because you get to see just the action moments.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be tuning in just to see how it goes.
Absolutely, I'm gonna be glued to the TV for all those 7 hours, watching every single puck drop, every single. I
just like seeing try, even if it don't work out. I like seeing new things tried in hockey. Hockey is a very traditionalist type sport, and you got to break it. It's the future, man. See, we got to break out of that.
And that's the thing with hockey is I want them to try new things, and I want them to succeed, obviously, in the things that they try that are new. Yeah. But then if the things that they're trying that are new don't work or just unpopular, please move off of it. Like I'll throw this out there. The board, the digital boards on the broadcast where you lose the puck if the puck goes into the board. I freaking hate that.
I hate that. There's been plenty of things. The Fox glowing puck.
Yeah, I mean, they moved off of it, which and I think casual fans are just like, I liked it when the puck glowed because I could see the puck. It's just like, just get good. I don't know, but with the board ads, it's just like, man, I get it. You're selling ad space. The league needs more money. I understand it, but man, there's got to be a better way to do this. That is like, have you seen some of the screen grabs where like you can't see the player because they're obstructed by the board ad?
100%. And it's fine. They do the ones that are up on the glass.
Yeah, that's fine because the players aren't going to get up there. The puck isn't going to get up there enough to make. And when
it's that high, you really don't. It doesn't matter if you see it or not because then once it hits the ice,
it's not going to the net. So
right. So those are fine. But yeah, you're right about that. It's like try new things, but if they don't work, let's get them out of here. All right, this show's just about done, but I've got a segment just for you and me, Daniel, that we're going to do every episode.
Oh, okay.
And it's just for us because we talk about current events. We talk about all the exciting things going on in hockey. Probably this season means we're not going to get to talk about our teams very much. I mean, this season.
I mean, there's not a lot to talk about.
So this segment at the end of every show is just going to be called Ducks, the Sharks and Ducks. Aw, shucks.
I love it. It's amazing.
So you guys have played one game. My team's played two. My team played 2 games. We both
we played 2 games. Actually.
Oh, you played last night.
We had a back-to-back. We had Lucas Dostal in that last night.
Oh, that's right. I saw that afterwards. We both played Vegas. in our openers.
And
which
Vegas
sucks.
Vegas made us look stupid. That's it's a thing. That
So
happens.
because it was the first game, first period, Sharks didn't look bad. Our boy that we talked about, Philip Zadina, scored the first Sharks goal of the season, his first goal as a Shark, looking pretty good out there. Capo Kakinen, Sharks went against my judgment of wanting to just start Mackenzie Blackwood out the gate, and they started Capo. Looked decent for a first period, but then as soon as Vegas scored that second goal, he completely fell apart.
Yeah.
Sharks defense not doing anybody any help, as shown by game number 2 against Colorado Avalanche, where they did start Mackenzie Blackwood.
50 shots.
51 shots, 50 saves.
Oh my god, bro! And those are John Gibson numbers.
Well, that's what I was thinking the whole time. We were talking about John Gibson getting 38 shots and that being too much. Mackenzie Black and a lot of those either point blank. Like, because they show where all the shots come from on the ice, little graphic in between periods and stuff. And they weren't just run of the mill. Half those were great saves.
He looked good, man.
But
he looked good.
Too many games like that, he ain't going to be looking good for very long.
No, absolutely not.
He was stretching. I mean, he's a big guy, so it's but he was making some great saves. The Sharks just got no defense. 51 shots.
It's trouble, man. It's real trouble.
Block something. Block something.
Man, we're all hockey fans here. I'm assuming if you're watching the hockey Bungalow show, you've got to be a hockey fan, right?
Right.
You should have by this point seen Shorzy.
Yeah.
First episode, Shorzy talking to Nat, the GM of the team, and she's just like, "Why can't we win?" It's like the kids don't want it. They don't fight. They don't hit. They don't check. They don't skate. They float. That's what it looks like on the Sharks.
I've got a few names. I've got a few names. One being the aforementioned Philip Zadina. 2 being Thomas Bordelot. I'm Giovanni Smith.
Okay. Big tough guy, yeah.
These are the names of people who look like they were trying hard.
Yeah.
In my brain, watching these two games.
You're also only naming fourth liners.
Of course.
Yeah.
Because then you get to Thomas Hurdle. He was the worst guy on the ice in that Colorado Avalanche game.
He did not look great.
He was going offside, making bonehead plays.
Chances, too.
Bonehead plays.
Just insane to me.
They don't chip the puck out of the zone.
Nope.
So the Sharks, to my chagrin, to my happiness, have Drew Remenda between the glass, right? They've got their announcing team, the same announcing team of Randy Hahn
and Drew Remenda. So glad he's back. He went to Toronto for a little bit. I'm glad he's back.
Drew, I love Drew, and being a former coach, especially now that he's between the glass, he has these little moments so where he goes into blackout coach mode because at least 4 times during that game, right in the middle of Randy doing play-by-play, you just hear Drew go, chip it. It's just chip it, get it out of the goddamn zone. Your goalie wouldn't have 5 shots in one little series if you just
just get it out. Just
sometimes you don't get control
beyond
and
the
go on a
line.
breakout.
Just beyond the blue line.
I feel
I don't care if you get all the way down. Just beyond the blue line, make them tag up. Do something.
I feel like if they don't think they're gonna get control and get a breakout, they don't even try. It's sometimes you just gotta get it out of the fucking zone and start over again. Let them get a shot, chip it out, let them come back and get another shot. Not keep it in the zone for 45 seconds and get 5 shots.
Yeah.
And just on pure numbers, not even at the end of the game, at the end of the first period, it was, I want to say 24 shots to 11.
Yeah, it was bad.
You know what I mean? And it's
bad.
So, and to credit, obviously, to Mackenzie Blackwood, it was 1-0 going into Sharks, going into a minute and a half.
Of the game,
yeah, and Cale Makar drained one and took it to overtime.
I mean, come on, man.
Should have happened earlier,
dude.
And it was a straight up screen.
You can only hold off the Colorado Avalanches for just as long as you can, but dude, 50 shots.
And you want to know the thing about that Cale Makar goal, and then I'll let you get to your Ducks, is when you watch the replay. Yes, it was a Colorado screen. They had a guy screening Mackenzie Blackwood, right? And he just didn't even see it. It just came right in. There was 3 Sharks there that could have blocked that fucking shot. Could have just stepped right in front of it.
There were also three Sharks there that could have moved the screen.
Could have moved the screen.
So that
but
Blackwood
all things
could
being
see
equal,
the puck.
The guy that was behind the guy screening him could have pushed him out of the way.
Yeah.
But the other 2 guys, one of them being Hurdle, I believe, could have also just stepped in front of that freaking shot and taken at least one for the team for the whole game. Like... Yeah. Okay. What about the Ducks?
They're soft as baby shit right
That's
now.
it, man.
And I mean, and we talked about this earlier. It's slop o'clock. It's very sloppy hockey going on.
Right. You got to get your chemistry together, but
it happens.
That's pathetic.
But 51
shots is
that's not sloppy anymore. That's just lazy.
That's like all the shots taken, not even shots on goal. They should have 51 that went combined, shots that went wide, shots that were deflected, shots on goal. All together, they should have 51 in an entire game. Not 51 shots on goal.
They probably had more scoring chances than people have registered shots.
That's what I'm saying.
Than teams have registered
Combining
shots
all the shots that came off the Colorado sticks that night, there was probably 90 shots.
It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
Like, who knows?
Absolute fire drill in front of
All
them.
right, what about the Ducks?
Yeah, you know what? Ducks actually got a win on their second game. The second half of back to back. They were in the pond, which is awesome for their second one. They lost to Vegas in Vegas. I mean, what are you gonna do? Like it's Vegas, man. They're defending Cup champs. They're so good.
Yeah, that's a tough game for first right out the gate.
And like I said, it's sloppy hockey right now. So like Ducks made 4 mistakes. They lost 4-1. Actually made 3 mistakes because one of them was an empty cage. Right. And and Gibson played pretty good. He played all right. It wasn't bad hockey from Gibby, actually. Like he played pretty good. I think Troy Terry and Zegers, who the Ducks are really depending on for a lot of things this year, they didn't look perfect, but I mean it's first week of the season, and you kind of let it go a little bit. McTavish looks like he's shot out of a cannon. He's ready to go. And then, I mean, what you don't really say too much about that Knights game because it's like, all right, game 1, whatever. Dude, game 2, they played the Hurricanes at home, bro. Dostal? Dostal looked good.
It's kind of the thing with the Sharks and Blackwood. It's kind of like, okay, your second option might be your first option.
Dude, Dostal looked pretty good, and not discrediting anything John Gibson did, but I mean, man. I think Dostal's hungry. Like, he wants this spot, and
sometimes that's enough.
And he's looking okay.
You know what I mean?
Frank Vetrano, showing why the Ducks went and got him in the offseason, 2 off seasons ago now, from New York, is they got him for that blinding speed, and he is fast. He's a fast winger. Not necessarily like the best defensive mind on him, but like he plays wing, so what are you gonna do? But he's real quick. He's got a decent to better average shot. And bro, he comes away with a hattie last night. That's pretty good.
Yeah. No, I mean, the Ducks in that game looked a lot better than the Sharks in both of their games.
And this is from when we talked about our roster preview. I told you both teams were bad. We know going in both
Sharks
teams,
and Ducks. All Shucks,
teams
bro.
are bad. Yeah. Oh shucks, man. Oh shucks, we're both bad this year.
Anything good is a silver lining, dude. Like that's all you can hope for.
But the thing that I was saying about the Sharks is that like they have a couple of good guys and they have a couple of albatross contracts. You know what I mean? And it's just like it is what it is. The Sharks are question marks that we don't necessarily know right now.
A lot of them. Oh, I know some of them. I think already.
I think a couple of them you might know.
Yeah.
But the Ducks, their ceiling here, their floor and where they really are is right here, right? And I think you saw the floor in the Knights game, and I think you saw the ceiling in the Canes game.
Yeah, because I mean, both our teams obviously kind of roster wise in the same position, expectation wise in the similar position. Both have tough testing games right out the gate. Yeah. We had the Avalanche, the Knights, the Knights and the Canes, and we got Penguins coming up. Yeah. Like, it's just a lot of tough shit right out the gate. So I think a lot of lessons are going to be learned about
the
both
NHL
these
did
teams.
not do either of our teams any favors with the schedule.
Nope, but oh shucks.
Oh shucks.
Well, that's been a Bungalow Hockey Show, the first ever Bungalow Hockey Show.
That was fun.
Hell yeah, dude. We're going to do it again every week. tune in Tuesdays. When should we release it? What time on Tuesdays? What's a good time?
I don't know. When's o'clock?
I don't know. I just like it's hard for me to think of times because our counterparts at Peak One Sports are in Texas, so they're in Central Time. So every time I give them a time, they're like Pacific or Central. So like when I release something at 5 here, it releases at 7 there.
Maybe you say say 11 o'clock Pacific, so it's 1 o'clock Central.
Just get it out there, because we'll be doing these on Mondays, so they'll be ready to go.
Like relatively lunch break.
And that way it's there ready for everybody when they get off work.
Yeah.
Okay. So tune in 1 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday. No, 1 p.m. Central.
1 p.m.
Central. I already screwed it up. All right, tune in Tuesday. All right.
When
you got some time.
It'll
at lunch.
be there. Just hit the bell icon
when you get at work. I just want to, because like being a Pacific Division guy, or we're from California. The games start at 7:30. You know what I mean? It's nice somebody to watch these before the games start, because once you get to game time, nobody's watching YouTube.
Exactly.
So it'll definitely be ready for you every Tuesday before your games start. And that's been the first Bungalow Hockey Show. Thank you, Daniel.
Oh, thank you.
Everybody out there, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. Betalytics, League Swipe, Peak One, bonfire.com/store/Peak One Sports, and epichockey.com. Enjoy your hockey.